Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do my oil change on the Trackhawk. Parts you're going to need, you need 8 quarts, the oil that you like. I am switching to Amsoil. I've been using Pennzoil in my Trackhawk since I purchased it, but I'm an Amsoil fanboy and I figured I'd make the switch today. Next, you're going to need an oil filter. I use the Mopar oil filter that has the SRT printed on it. Here's that number, M0-041. Actually, I think that might be the number on it. But anyway, I like using this one instead of the traditional black Mopar filter. You can use either or, but I heard that most people like this one. They prefer this one to the other one. Besides, it has the SRT logo on it. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, then you're going to need a 12mm socket or socket. Then you're going to need a 12mm. Yeah. Then you're going to need a 12. Nope, that's not a 12. Alright, let's try this one more time. Then you're going to need a 13mm socket, or you could use a box wrench, but good luck getting that box wrench in there and getting enough leverage to get the nut off. Today I'll be showing you how I do my oil change on the Trackhawk. And what you're going to need 8 quarts of 0W40. Now I've been using the Pennzoil since I purchased it, but I'm an Amsoil fanboy, so I decided this time around I'm going to switch over. You need the oil filter. I use the Mopar oil filter with the SRT logo printed on the side. It's that white filter. Now I think the original filter is an all black filter, and it might just say Mopar on it, but this is the filter I use. I think most people prefer this one anyway. I mean, it has an awesome SRT logo on the side too, so whereas the other one I don't believe has that. You're going to need a 13mm socket, or I guess you could use a box wrench, but good luck trying to get enough leverage in there because it's kind of in an awkward position. Obviously a ratchet and an extension. Now for the oil filter, I use both. It depends on how I'm feeling or how stuck on the oil filter is. I use the oil socket. I don't know what size this is. This is made by Amsoil, and it says A252. Maybe you can look that up. I don't know. And you can also use your trusty regular oil filter wrench, I guess is what they call this, with the rubber band. It's hard to get leverage in there. It's easy to put on the oil filter, but it's hard to get the leverage that you need to actually twist it off, so that's why I alternate sometimes. And if you're going to use this, you're going to need a swivel because it's kind of on an angle and you're not going to get a straight, you know, ratchet in there. And you're going to need a big oil pan. This thing takes 8 quarts, so I think your typical oil pan is what, maybe 10 quarts? That might be pushing it a little bit. I believe this is like a 14 quart. It doesn't really say. It doesn't say on here. This is not my normal one. I use another one that's like a 16 quart, but that one's full and I have to empty that. But So I'm using this one that I purchased on eBay. The cap you can see broke. I think there's a crack in it, so I used a generic cap that I found somewhere. I also use a mallet. Now you're probably asking, what the hell do you need a mallet for an oil change? The reason being is when I use the socket on the oil drain plug, first of all, I don't like using sockets on oil drain plugs. I would rather use a box wrench, but the box wrench, like I said, you'll see in a minute, where it's just hard to get leverage on it. So I usually just put this up, hold it tight up against the drain plug, and then give it 1 or 2 whacks and have it come loose, instead of trying to get it off with my hands and risk, you know. Also, I forgot to add, if you're using jacks with a jack with jack stands, make sure you don't put it here. I've seen a picture, I'll see if I can find it so I can insert it here, where someone put this vehicle on a lift right on that point where it shows an arrow. Yes, that is the location. It shows you generally the location of where you want to put your jack stand or the lift point, but it doesn't mean on this. It means inside on the frame. So yeah, if you're using a jack with jack stands, use the frame. I am using the race ramps that I bought for this thing. They're supposed to prevent flat spots in your tires if you park it for a long time, and it gives me just enough room to get under there. I'm a small guy, so it's probably not going to help you personally out. So, as always, you want to warm your vehicle up for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. That way the oil's nice and loose, loosey-goosey. And that's the oil drain plug right there. Pretty simple. They give you a pretty generous area to work with, but like I said, if you put a box wrench in here, it's kind of awkward to get some leverage. That's why I use the socket with the extension and a mallet with a couple hits. And this is where I put my gloves on. Oop. Oh, I messed that one up. Yep. What the fuck? God damn it. Now I'm gonna try for the oil filter. I'm gonna use, oh, hold up, don't have much room. I'm gonna use this thing. So you see where the oil filter is? It's on an angle, so you can't really get something straight. You gotta have that swivel. So I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, and I'll cut back in when I'm done. Alright, so what you want to do now is put some oil in the oil filter and let it soak up. You want to prevent the first startup from having a dry oil filter. I mean, it's only a split second and it fills up, but I mean, I like to do it. A lot of people like to do it, so just gonna pour it in. Not too much though. You want it to soak up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in there. It's eventually gonna soak up. You're gonna want to twirl it around a little bit. Maybe add just a little more. And the fact that this filter installs this way, you can honestly fill it up all the way, but I don't do that. I just do it a little bit. And then you also want to put some oil around the gasket so it seals completely. Now there's been a lot of people stating that their oil filters have been leaking. You want to make sure that this gasket from the old filter is not stuck up on the oil shroud or whatever you want to call it. Because if you have 2 gaskets, it's not going to seal properly. It might seal, believe it or not, at first, but as you drive and when the heat transfers, it might start leaking, and you're going to have a bad day. So make sure this old gasket is completely removed. That way you avoid a bad day. Right. Now, when you get your oil filter on, you're gonna make it tight. You're gonna make it not too tight. You don't want to over tighten it, but you want it to be snug for sure. Now you're gonna come over to your oil fill cap, take it off, and this is the part where I forgot to say that you're gonna need a oil funnel. But I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I need a new one. See, mine has a crack there, so I gotta easy when pouring it. And this is where you get fill 8 quarts, and you should be good. All right, getting to my 7th quart. I usually always stop at the 7th because this vehicle has a reservoir, I believe, for the supercharger, and I've seen people having to drill holes and stuff. Oh my, shut the fuck up. I'm stopping at my 7th quart because the supercharger also uses oil, and people say that you gotta drain that from a separate location, and I never do, because I've seen people that they had to drill into spots, and I'm not about to do that. Every time I did an oil change on this, I've always had to add 8, whereas some people were saying, oh, well, since I didn't drain the supercharger, it's only taking like 6.5 or 7. So I always check at around 7, but I almost always, actually basically every single time I've changed my oil, I've had to put 8 quarts in. So I don't know, I don't have that issue. So I just make sure the oil drains completely. I let it drain for about a half hour. And yeah, it'll take the whole 8 quarts. So yeah, 7 quarts in. Check the dipstick. I haven't started it yet. I'm just gonna check it while it's cold. See how high it is. And All right, so that is just, I don't know if you could see it. I'm not gonna be able to see it, but that is just above the fold line. So basically when I start it, it should eat up some oil, but I'm still gonna start it before I put the last quart in, just to make sure. But yeah, like I said, it should drop like a whole quart so I can put my last quart in. During this time, you also want to check for oil leaks by the filter and the drain plug. Alright, now we should be a quart low. About to find out. And yep, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to angle it. There is a little oil residue right here, but you're not going to go by that. You're going to go by where it is completely covering the stick, and it is indeed a little less or a little more than a quart low. So we're going to add our last quart in, and we should be good. 8 quarts. That. Last quart. Also, don't start up the vehicle without the oil cap on like I just did. Yeah, before you start it up, you want to take your oil funnel out and replace it with the cap. Nice mistake on my part. Well, one more startup and then check the oil again. Oh yeah, look at that. That's perfect. We good in the neighborhood. And last but not least, in order to reset the oil light or indicator, you want to put the vehicle to run. And I don't know if the old way works, where you just press the gas pedal 3 times. But make sure all this stuff clears. Okay, sure. You're gonna go down to, where are you gonna go? Don't mind that beeping. Actually, you know what? Hold up. I'm gonna go. Hold up, it always takes me a while to find it too. Hold up. Maybe it is here. Okay, let's try it. Tire pressure, coolant, trans, oil temp, oil pressure. Here we go, oil life. So it says hold OK to reset. You're gonna hold this button. And there you go. It's as simple as that. And you're done.